Hello there and welcome. I'm Ivory Toucan and this is a breakdown of the recent 2 Point Museum Zooseum trailer and live stream that was released on the 20th of November, which at the time of recording was yesterday. So this is the brand new, larger, longer DLC that is officially launching on December the 2nd at 3 PM. And that'll be launching on PC, PS5 and Xbox X Series X and S, with the Switch 2 version coming in Q1 2026. This DLC honestly looks incredible, and before we dive into all the details I found throughout, let's just start by rolling the trailer.
Announcement. Guests remarking on the strange appearance of the animals are reminded not to throw stones in glass houses. Guests are reminded not to feed the animals. They don't eat cheesy gubbins.
So a few things to cover off before we dive into it all. The DLC will be priced at $9.99 here in the UK, where I'm based, $10.99 in Europe, and then $10.99 in the US and other markets as well, which I think is actually really reasonable price. It might be slightly more than the Fantasy Find DLC, but that's just because this is absolutely stacked, this one. You have a whole new museum, there's obviously a new map, a 5-act campaign as well as you push all the way through to 5 stars. It was mentioned in the stream that this is even the biggest expedition map we've ever seen. There's 40 plus new animals, habitats and terrarium mechanics, new type of experts, items, decorations. There's just so much to dig into. The good news is everybody will get access to Silver Bottom Park, which is the new map. It's going to be completely free, including the first star of its story campaign 2. So essentially it will all be part of the base game from the 25th of November. So even if you don't want to buy the DLC, you'll still get a taste of the new systems as well as a handful of the new animals. So let's dive into the trailer, starting with the most exciting and obvious part, which is the animals. Every animal in the DLC will fall into one of the 5 biomes. This was confirmed on the live stream. So you'll have desert, grassland, jungle, cave, and Arctic. Each animal and exhibit will be classed in their respective subcategory, similar to how we have with prehistory category. We've got the fossils and we've got the dinosaur bones, and then the prehistory mysteries. These will be the categories of mammals, birds, reptiles, I believe amphibians. It wasn't actually confirmed on the live stream, but the others, in terms of it making sense, that's kind of the general sort of animal kingdom category that is remaining, and insects would be the 5th one. There are 40 plus confirmed animals in this DLC pack. This was confirmed via Reddit and then also on the Discord channels as well. There are 2 animal types here. They're terrariums and the habitat ones. The terrariums, they're the ones that are, you have, your insects and your reptiles in and everything. Whereas the habitats is where you'll have more of the mammals, the birds, the zebras, the lions, and so on. There are confirmed 20 plus for each of those respective terrariums and habitats categories. I believe I've worked out 27 of those animals. So throughout the trailer, we actually even see 15 different animals. So let's just go through those in order of appearance. We start with the hamster, which we've seen before in the first look trailer they gave us, the sneak peek. We see the tiger. And as we move into the first transition, on the left-hand side, we see the purple warthogs. We get a better look at these in the live stream. Still not that much of a close-up, but it actually looks like they're kind of covered in cheesy gubbins crisps. I could be wrong, but that's kind of from the small shots we've seen of them, it looks like. On the other side of the screen, we can see the pandas enjoying their habitat. So there's 2 in there as well. Moving on, we see the gazelle living in the same habitat as the zebra, and that's the confirmed name, which we see in the live stream as they play through to the first star. Now, interestingly as well, there was some B-roll footage they showed during the live stream, which is no longer available. It also showed these two living alongside the spyglass giraffe, which I will get to shortly. But it's interesting to see that, you know, it's like the aquariums where you can mix the fish, or in this case, the animals together to just really kind of diversify your habitats and your museums as you go through. Next up, we see the carnivulture, which has just impressive colours and it just looks brilliant. It is very much sort of a dodo-inspired sort of bird. Next up, we see our first look at some of the insects. I believe, to me, these look like some sort of grasshoppers hybrid. I mean, obviously it's 2 Point Museum, so there's going to be a specific spin on it, but we see some grasshoppers. And in the top left corner, you can actually see another one, which looks like a plant. This is like a plant scorpion, which we see again later on in the trailer as well. Next up in the trailer, we see these garden tortoises. They are actually massive as well. They show something on the live screen where they encountered a sort of glitch where one was blocking the main entrance of the doorway and it was bigger than the doorway itself, basically. So these are not going to be small tortoises. Then we see the cheeky capybara, which we've seen in a lot of the imagery they've shared previously around the DLC. And then this one is the interesting one where we see quite a few additional animals. So starting at the bottom left, we have the grasshopper terrarium here, and then on the one next to it we can then see another shot of the plant inspired scorpion. There are two within this single terrarium. Moving on over to the right hand side to the more jungle inspired terrariums, we can see the snake. This is the snakebite snake, and we see a lot more of this during the live stream. Sharing this terrarium, we also see a blue animal, which in the B-roll footage you could see beforehand, it very much looked like a chameleon-inspired animal. So that's going to be really interesting, and see what the mechanics are going to be like with that and the traits, where it could maybe change colour, make it difficult to see for the guest, or maybe even just make it more challenging for the experts to, you know, maintain and clean up the exhibits. And then the terrarium next to it, we actually see two different animals within this one. One is the spineless toad, it's called. We see this one very clearly through the live play. And then up on the glass of the terrarium where the spineless toad is, you can see here, this is actually some sort of slug. We actually saw this slug a bit clearer in the B-roll footage they showed before they started the live stream as well. So that is another animal / insect confirmed for the game, which then takes the total up to 15 animals within the trailer alone. And with the additional imagery we've seen released since, there will be 7 exhibits that will be available from the 25th, which will be available for everyone for free. I can confidently say we know 6 of them thanks to the live stream they did. So these are the carnivulture, the zebra, the spyglass giraffe, which you can see here, the snakebite snake, the spineless toad, and the cabin snail, which is again also on this image on the screen here as well. The 7th animal, however, is a rumoured animal that is located in the bone belt, not on the new map, which we'll dig into a bit later on. In terms of then the rest of the animals we've seen, we have the Arctic wolves that you can see at the start of the live stream up on the 2 Point Studios YouTube channel. There is also a binturong-esque inspired animal. It's like a bear cat sort of animal, and you see this in the artwork here. We then see the penguin artwork later on in the stream. Later on in the stream, we see a platypus-inspired sort of animal here. And then we have a brief shot of the lion within the game as well. We then also saw, during the B-roll footage beforehand, a sort of blue jackal type animal. And then I believe it was confirmed that there would be 5 snakes in total within the entire Far-Flung Isles map, which then takes our total up to 27 animals. And I think a great part of what was revealed during the live stream is that these animals cannot get stolen as well. So that massively eases any security concerns or any issues around that, and can probably help you plan your museums a little bit better in terms of the security layout, in terms of where you can maybe either zone security guards or where you can position the exhibits and the habitats to maybe even help kind of divert any criminals there might be. And there's also another interesting mechanic that they discussed around the animals themselves, is that they cannot break out of the habitats. And this is something we've seen in quite a few other similar sort of games, you know, like Planet Zoo or Jurassic World Evolution. There's that fence maintenance aspect, but it was confirmed during the live stream that the devs didn't really want to go down that route, because there are many other things to focus on with this DLC, and they didn't want it to feel overwhelming. Yeah, and I think that's a really great choice by the devs, as you know, there are already a lot of other things to focus on as it is. So we'll loop back to the trailer shortly, but let's just dive in a little bit more into what was discussed in the live stream. So Abby, one of our community managers, alongside Jamie, who's a senior 2D artist at 2 Point Studios, they played through to the first star of the Silverbottom Park Museum, and they gave us some great insights throughout, so I'd highly recommend going back and watching the stream when you get the chance. But you're probably asking, what did we learn? So we have the new map, which is the Far-Flung Isles, the new expedition map, the new location, which has the museum, the Silverbottom Park. What else did we learn? We also know, again, this is going to be a 5-star act campaign as well as you play through. And as you work through the map, you will actually work through the different biomes as you go. But whilst we're talking about the map, let's actually just dive in a bit more into that itself, because they shared some really great work in progress stills. You know, it's probably quite close to the finished product itself. I actually counted 22 different points of interest here. Again, this might not be the confirmed number, because some of those might not be actual locations. They could be the obstructions we see in a lot of the maps. It might have been more. They might have taken away some as well. So that's the sort of rough number we're playing with here. But interestingly here, there is a new mechanic with this Far-Flung Isles. So instead of there being survey level, there is actually biodiversity. So instead of there being the survey level, there's actually the biodiversity level. This was explained on the stream that the Far-Flung Isles are actually in a really bad state, and there is an epidemic of the far-flung flu, which say that 5 times fast. So essentially then, to get better quality animals, you then basically need to do a few different things. They explain there are many ways to build up this biodiversity level. They didn't give too much away, but one of the ways being, which I think a really cool mechanic, which you've seen, you know, like in Planet Zoo, if you've played that quite a lot, is that you can release the animals back into the wild, and then that then shoots up the biodiversity level quite high. There are confirmed, we don't know what they are yet, but there are confirmed cargo items that will also help to boost that up as well. Probably similar to like we have with the survey scanner on getting the survey level up on the other maps as well. In terms of then going back to the animals where we can re-release them, you can obviously breed them as well. There will be a similar sort of thing that you have with the aquariums, where you have the egg cup. We have yet to see what this is, but there will be a similar sort of thing there where you can then breed and then keep the animals or re-release them. And the best part of all this as well is that there is an adoption board. So this is, again, if you've played Planet Zoo, you're probably quite familiar with this. And you can advertise for the animals that you're looking for as well. So if you're looking to then breed a specific animal, then you can advertise for it rather than going out on expedition to find it. These work a little bit like the job experts we see with hiring staff, but it only looks like you can adopt animals that you've already found or unlocked as well. Next up, we have the experts. So these guys have lots of different tasks to kind of focus on, but the most important part is that they will be building the terrariums in the workshop alongside the additional items that can be added to the habitats as well as the terrariums. So they work very much in the same sort of vein as the science experts, where they build the science exhibits there. In terms of then the habitats and the terrariums, I think the most exciting part for me that I found in the live stream is that these can be placed outside. So no more having to force everything within the museum with all the rooms. We can have the habitats outside, which I just cannot wait to do, and it just means you just opens up a whole new world of how you can go about designing and decorating your museums. For the terrariums, as you play through the map, you will start with the small terrariums, which you can then unlock later on, which move to medium and the large. Each of these have a capacity, much like they do with the aquariums and the poltergeist room, so you can only have a limited number within each of the terrariums. Another thing to note is that each habitat and terrarium can be adapted to the different biomes. It's not a case of you have to build them separately. It's similar to the poltergeist room, where you can just switch the decor basically. And then with the habitats, we see this slider scale at the top, which says open, sparse and dense, and this basically will differ animal to animal, but it kind of showcases the level of decoration that would be needed for each of the animals. So there's some that would be more suitable for the open space, like the giant tortoise we see, or they might want something a bit more dense like the carnivulture. So that just kind of then helps you plan which animals could then maybe pair better together. Next up, we have the new staff rooms. So we see in the live stream, we see actually one of those rooms, which is called the wildlife welfare room. Kind of almost like the vet room. This is where you then send your animals straight after they come back from expeditions, because most of the time they will come back with the far-flung flu, so they need to then be cured of that flu before they can then go back into the habitat space or back out into the wild. Other really exciting features that will be coming in the DLC is we have 2 new kiosks as well, and one of those finally being a food kiosk. And I've been waiting for a food kiosk because it's going to save massively on the vending machines, which cause just so much mess and have a big impact on the environment rating. But then sometimes the cafeterias are quite awkward to position in the smaller museums, especially if you're kind of designing like a one-way system. So I think that just kind of adds a bit more variation. In terms of the second kiosk, it was confirmed that this will be a slushy kiosk as well, which we can see here. Other new elements will be the gift shop items we'll see, as well as things like the new donation bins, which I'll probably be using these in most of my museums, and not just in the animal sections, but in other areas as well. There will of course be a new enlightenment track where we will most likely be unlocking more decorations throughout. It was confirmed there's also going to be new in-game music, a new DJ, and new voice lines too for the existing ones. One of the other big parts for me, which I'm really excited to start exploring and digging into, is the amount of decorations that are coming into the game with this new DLC. There will of course be new wallpapers and flooring added as well, which we can see a few in the trailer here. There will also be a new helicopter skin. I'm pretty sure it is a dog. It looks like a dog to me. In terms of the other items, as we reel these off, there will be new ticket booths, new map boards it looked like as well, and I cannot wait for these as well. New info boards, which are going to be absolutely great, and you unlock these after you get the first star in the Silver Bottom Park. And then the last thing I caught during the live stream that I think is worth noting is that there will be 5 new achievements for those playing on either Steam, PlayStation or Xbox as well. And then I'm assuming that will be the same case for the Switch when that comes out in Q1 next year. Oh, and that is everything I caught during the latest trailer and the live stream. If you spotted anything I didn't, make sure to drop it in the comments down below. Will you be picking up the DLC when it drops? If so, tell me what you're most excited for. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.